Hey there, Ddraig back again with a second part of looking at the Hordes of the Southern Realms by Cataph. I'd recommend checking out my first video where I cover the more unique mechanics of the mod, and there'll be a link in the top right hand corner. In this video I will cover the other two factions, Tyria and the New World colonies, and of course their Hordes. Okay, let's go back to the coast and start off with Tyria, before heading to Austria and taking a look at the New World colonies. Between the previous factions we looked at in my last video, we have Tyria, a large fertile peninsula with two port towns, a land of great wealth and advancement, and considered to be where democracy, civil liberty and justice were birthed. To the west it's Scathe White and Tyria. North is towards a green screen's tribe, and heading off to the forests of Athaorn. East is the border princes, and to the south is Saratoga and the land of the Tomb Kings. Our first leader is Leonardo, a skilled duelist and a powerful diplomat, giving advantages in both of these. With faction abilities of bonus income and growth, an already wealthy faction, this adds more gold to the coffers from their trade ports. As said before, a diplomat, so it gives additional bonuses when dealing with the Empire. Leonardo himself is a nice combat lord, giving extra advantages to being a duelist. With solid attack and defence, while not sporting a shield, he is still very good in the fight. Abilities wise, his first one is very interesting, giving him a map-wide debuff of -8 leadership from the start. Very powerful, and can really make a dent in the leadership straight from the off. To help him in a duel, he has a magic ring that causes an explosion, and a perfect magic resistance, and bonus to vigour. So if you spot a fireball or any other magic ability heading away, pop this for the perfect defence against these spells. His sword, the Relic of Sea Gold, gives him a powerful Sunder armour, and boosting his attack as well, making a match for most well-armed Hordes on the battlefield. So here we are with Leonardo here, and let's have a look at his campaign. So first of all, we'll do as per normal, show what's about Mr. Leonardo here. So as you can see, Scathe White are your main problem straight from the off. Just lurking there, doing a scathing thing. Bit further left, you got the Tyria. Not Tyria, sorry. Tyria. And you've got a couple of factions. You've got Saratoga to worry about, which are hanging on the coast. You start off with these two provinces. So you start off with Mariana, one of the major areas on this game. So it's a very big settlement. And it starts off at level 2, so you got quite a good starting army straight off the army off. And you got two provinces. Well, to select a region, and this is the skill tree, and the skill tree, building tree. Pretty much your standard affair. One thing I would like to point out, so as you can see there's how you get some of the units, and some of the more favourable units, and there is this one here, which as you can see is a big increase to your cash, 500, growth plus 20, only 8,000 to buy, not too bad, and income from all buildings plus 10% all regions and adjacent provinces. A very good building, and I reckon a must have. So that's the quick look at the skill tree, the building tree. I've already gone through this, and I've already gone through the research tree in my first video, so I'll be linked at the end of this one if you want to look at that. So now we can just have a quick look at his starting army before we go on his talent tree. So we start an army. It's quite heavily cavalry focused, but first we've got 3 units of pikemen. And these are solid units, as ever was one. Units guide video coming shortly, hopefully. And then you got a swordsman, 1 unit. Some noble retinue, which are a decent, a very good shot cav. Not the greatest defensively, but a very good shot cav. And then you got some carbonaras, or carbonaires. Carbonaras is a food. And some very good skirmish cav in the mode of the Outriders for the Empire, and then of course you got some Pistiers as well, so quite a good missile front line, bit of skirmishing straight from the off, and I do like my skirmishing cav, and so that's quite a good little starting army for that. And from there we can move on to his skill tree. So here we are with Leonardo's skill tree, and so we'll have a closer look at this. And as per normal, we have got the old campaign bonuses. Mixture of things you've seen before, if you've seen my first video, of course. Most serene, so I think that's a new one. So most that can be 3 times, so that's income from ports. Actually, I have seen that before. Any strike, Grandmaster, your Justician, Alert, and Machiavellian Prince. And we've got Inspiring Preference, so these are the buffs you can pick up for your various units, and these are definitely I've seen before. So bottom 2 are just pretty much exactly the same thing. So I'll just skip over them, and if you really want to, you can pause it. But they're pretty much the same as we've seen before, if you've seen the first video. So we've got Command of Fortune. So as I mentioned in my first video, which I outlined this, you can set up your army to favour one particular unit type. So this one would be more of your cutthroats, your pirates, your pumping guards, your pikemen, your adventurers. Or you go for noble, so this is more your broken yancers, your knights, the more hierarchical, up the hierarchy of the faction ranks. So it just allows you to have cheaper upkeep and a bit more melee damage and defense and bonuses. Or you can still have either unit, and of course these can be ranked twice. You can still have both units in it, but you got much more upkeep. Plus 6%, which is not a massive amount, but it is substantial, especially because you can just have -6% upkeep on the units you can see there. So let's move on from that and go to hard to hit, devastating charge, 4-point armor, sacred veteran, deadly braid, thrill seeker. So these are your standard affair, usual abilities. Nothing that staggering there. And as we'll And if you've seen any of my videos before, these are the usual ones which are interesting. So, black bands. So we've got handgunners units, with time reduction for both of those, and minus upkeep, minus 10% for your regiments of renown. And that will be coming up in a separate video. I think I'm going to split up my unit overview video, and then I'm going to have a separate for regiments of renown and regiments of fame, which is a separate type. But that's the first time I've seen that on any of our lords we've looked at. And minus 20% upkeep on very expensive units is very nice. Knightly favours. So cheaper heavy cav. Always good. Some nice worldwide or province build boosts. Possible you'll just keep at the back really. It doesn't have to be the actual Yord to go forward and start fighting. Scouting unis. The very best money can buy. So upkeep plus 15% for all units, but heavily upgraded units. So armor piercing damage plus 3, plus 10% for plus 10 for all units, and plus 15% for all missile units. So would you take that? Yes, if you're very flush with cash. And Tyria does have quite a lot of possibility for having a big influx of cash. So it's a possibility. And the last one is this map wide buff or debuff, which I mentioned in his stat when I went over his personal stats. So you can go with a Warhorse or J Griffin. There's his sword, which I've mentioned before, and there's his special wing, so to speak, and then his missile resistance at the end. So that's a quick overview of Leonardo's skill tree. Borgol the Besieger is the other Yord of Tyria, and with a name like that, as you expect, he's an expert in siege warfare. A surprisingly good politician as well, but a bit of a tyrant, and any serious threat to him was dealt with swiftly, and you'll betide any enemy who thinks they are safe behind their walls. Naturally, Borgol brings bonuses to siege warfare, making him take of cities in Warhammer. This, however, is only one main talent, so remember to use his ability to guide how you use him on the field. He is best leading your armies on crusades, or on the old world and new. Stats wise, he's very strong. Not the dewest of Leonardo, but he does bring armour and a shield, and one of a few Yords to bring a lot of AP from the off, at 260. While known for his strategic mind, he wields a huge mace, which apparently used to be a cannonball which nearly killed him, so he can definitely look after himself. First ability is difficult to sway. As the name suggests, Borgol has survived a yacht in his life, and was known for staying the course. With his winning nature, his beloved talent is not surprising, and constantly buffing his troops. The monstrous mask gives him a nice armour boost, making him the tankiest of all the Yords we look at, causing fear as well as makes him a very good frontline fighter. As mentioned, his mace was in fact a cannonball, and 100% AP boost makes it a very potent weapon. And just as you thought this Lord could get any tougher, he has the Brazen Brass to add physical resistance, making him the pure tank of the Horde. And now here we are with Borgoya the Besieger. So, don't need to go over where he is because he starts at exactly the same place as Leonardo. I did actually mention the Orcs to the north, and there's the border bridges to the east. But other than that, yeah, it's the same location. Nothing to suggest anything different to be said there. So his army, which we can see at the bottom there, a very, very good front four. So you need your pikemen on the flanks, and then you got 2 swordsmen in the middle. Always a good start. And you start off with Regiment of Renown. And as you can see, you can have this unit. Now, if you remember from my... I might have put it in my faction overview for Borgoa here, that he can actually have 2 of these units in his armies. Can't speak at the moment. And he's also got a unit of crossbowmen. These are excellent crossbowmen with silver shields, and some pistiers as well, and a cannon. And to be fair, with a name like this, if you don't have a cannon, you really should not be named that, should they? Should you? Let's be honest. Come on. So that is pretty much him. And because this is quite a small one, I'm just going to go straight to his skill tree. I usually cut this up, but because it's pretty much straight there, I might as well just go straight into it. So there's his skill tree. And again, these are similar to what we've seen before. Recruitment cost, arch promoter. These are slightly different. Actually, they are different to the previous one, to Leonardo. So I can just hover over these and pick out the ones I want to talk about. High speeder, upkeep. Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times now. I'm still not convinced. That's the good one. But anyway, which will go keep on. Most serene, death by mercenaries. So got a nice bit of yoke recruitment. Machiavellian Prince. Quite like that Machiavellian Prince. I think it's quite a good ability, that. Hiring, casualty replacement, more trade. Very good. Vesta. So these are more, because that is his to boost up his army. So it's slightly different. There was an interesting top bit as it was before. A top section, maybe not top bit. Let's use a bit of proper English. So it decreases siege abilities even quicker. So this makes him, he is a siege specialist by a long way, probably the best in this game now. If you take in the vanilla settings, this is definitely the best one. Best Yord. I'm just trying to think of which one would be comparable. Wulfric? He's got a couple of abilities for siege, I think, but nowhere near as much as Borgoa here. Head Wizards. So nice bonuses for Wizards. Connoisseur, Festive, and Veteran Advisors. So it is his own buffs. So you got Beaver General. Borgoa's picks, Siege Warfare, so even more ammunition for those missile infantry and artillery. Speed, Dirty Dozen, Steel and Honour, and Rally. So these are pretty much standard. There's that great ability. Bash Younged, best money you can buy. So yeah, I'm still not convinced that's worth it. Plus 10 armour on all units. It is substantial, but like if you saw some of the Pistiers haven't got much armour as standard anyway. So would 10 armour make that much difference? Possibly, I suppose. Possibly. I know we ranked once as well. Upkeep plus 5%. It's not 5% is not exactly much, I suppose. It's one of those, like. Dwarf Friend, so a bit more defense for all dwarves, and then a standing round. And then we've got his own personal abilities: Full Print, Self-Invested, Rulemaker, Sacred Veteran, Brain Master, Full Seeker. Nothing earth shattering here, and all the usual ones. So we can nip up straight up to the top tree, which looks a bit more interesting. So you can be on a warhorse, and that's it, and a barbed warhorse probably. So that's all we can be mounted on. One of the weakest ones to be mounted. Mace of Might, that's his massive, ridiculous mace. Monster's Mask of Helm, I love that thing. That's awesome that thing is. What level was that? 15. It's quite steep, but worth it in his armour, make him the tank to be honest. Our Shielded Menace, so I did 10% is that armour? Yeah, armour. That is more interesting. I believe it was 30 armour on the standard units for the crossbowman. So add another 20% missile damage, and if you want that as well, that is a substantial amount of armour on some missile units. Casualty replacement, so really boosts his own particular recovery time, and the classic missile resistance. On the coast of Yustria, far away from any empire, you have the brave bunch of colonists, the New World colonists, who have established a settlement next to the Isman. Far from home, these brave soldiers try to either live alongside the Isman or feel the wrath by going against them. Our first yard is the mercenary Hellkadavo, an explorer and a legend amongst his men. A person who loves stuff for gold and trinkets of the Isman, so unsurprisingly, he is not exactly on Mazda Monday's Christmas card list. Bringing debuffs to any sort of diplomacy with the Isman, he will have a hard time keeping his new city. A good fighter and naturally a dirty fighter, bring a very nice debuff against whoever he attacks. However, with your AP, but very high attack, he is interesting in a fight, but needs a buff or two to help him keep up, because your armour can cost him. To help him survive, he has the Lucky Man ability, and about 15% damage resistance really does help him keep that damage at bay. The Starblast Talisman is one of the first items I have seen with this ability, where he can remove debuffs, and gives the opposition a nice debuff. A fascinating little trinket, which can really neutralise the enemy's strength. Hellkadavo also has an ability, which allows him to give dirty fighting to his entire army, making this incredibly powerful. Anything that buffs an entire army with just one ability makes this a must-have. So here we are with Hellkadavo, and here he is in the New World colonies. So this is a very interesting starting location, and I've played this particular one a fair bit in my time. I do love the starting location. I find it really interesting, and if you remember from the little bit of blurb about 5 minutes ago, this little chap here does not like this little chap, and I'm getting the feeling he's more of a mutual. I don't believe do you start off at war with them? No, you don't. You don't start off at war with anybody. No, you don't. No, I don't think you did. You don't start off at war with them. But with diplomatic relations debuff is extreme. Actually, let's have a quick look, because I believe that's going to go plummeting. Yeah, hostile. So Mazda here is just not going to be taking any mick, and he's going to take him out. Anyway, so how is it for the starting location? So interesting. So you got Port Weaver and Swamp Town, and this is a 4-region settlement province. So we got Maku Peaks and Shrine of Sotek there. I think that one of them is held by the Skaven. I think they are anyway. Of course, we've got Mazda Mundi next year, and that's going to be straight war because Haxiato is a fortress at the start, and it gets better very quickly. You got Norska to the north, and I believe that's nothing there, but you have got a Norskan fighting army there. So you got 2 interesting armies to fight straight away. So that's to the north, to the west. To the east, you have got, I believe that's one of the Vampire Coast, the Drowned. I think that's the opposite. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. And to the south, we have some Greenskins, the Blue Vipers. So, as it states on when you start this campaign, it is a very hard campaign, and you can see why. Especially with this character. The other character, not as much, but we'll get to him in a bit. So you start off with those 2, and I believe the provinces actually, the rank 2 already. No garrisons or notes in either of them, which is bad. So you have to use Hellkadavo here quite cleverly. Speaking of, let's have a closer look at that army. So quite missile, actually very missile. So you definitely need to recruit some infantry, some melee infantry straight from the off, but you still got your traditional pikemen. It's got some swashbucklers, crossbowmen, some pirates, and some pistoliers, and a light cannon. Pretty good, maybe on sheer unit count, probably the strongest of the armies we've seen so far. But still, it needs more melee infantry It's a bit more balanced, and you need to buy them straight from the off, really. And also remember his ability to give dirty fighting to his entire faction. I believe that might be further down his tree. Speaking of his tree, let's get to that. So here we are with Hellkadavo and his skill tree. That's, as always, going from the bottom. So nothing massively interesting, to be honest, because we've got the usual ones on the bottom, but we have got something very interesting towards the top. So we're just going to go through there. Have a quick look at the Renowned Fear. So some good abilities there. Inspiring Presence. So Adventure is the best. So this is a more focused on the more cutthroat units in the game, or in this mod. So we've got lots of things to boost that. We've got some Siege Warfare, Speed Horse, Dirty Dozen. So that's quite cool that Adventures at best. That's one of the only ones. I think that's the only Yord that has that ability. Maybe the next one, I'm not sure. I don't think so though. Standing Ground. Brass Young, Scum at worst. So that's another interesting unit. So more abilities on the pistol units. And you don't get many. I can't remember seeing a skill that focuses specifically on pistol units. And then Dirty Tactics. So that's the ability I was on about before. So that's the Yord ability. It's quite far down your tree, but yeah. I would focus on getting that because that's such a powerful ability. Then you got the excellent melee defense unbreakable ability at the end. So hard to hit. So all of these are always personal ones. So you got Conqueror there, Scarred Veteran, Brainmaster. He's a good fighter from the off, but yeah, that armor is not great. And he has got some buffs to boost that a bit. So that's up to 12. Still, it's only 62. Oh, yeah, that's melee defense. Apologies, 7. So it's 14. So it's, yeah, still not great. And Deadly Onslaught. Nice. This is the interesting. So if you remember from the faction abilities, he has a specific skill tree based on his storyline. So here we go. So if you can read the blurb there. So available rank 5, you can get bonus versus inventory plus 10. Bonus inventory plus 5. And casual replacement, so that's boosting it again. We've got minus 30% for all units. Your army attribute causes fear. So that's just minus 30% is a huge amount. Next, at level 20, charge bonus plus 5 for cavalry units. Enables Lance formation. Very rare for any of these. I think that's possibly the only one that has that possibility. And we got melee defense. So hold the iron plus 4 leadership. Passive ability. And attribute unbreakable as well. And then the last three, another upkeep, minus 10% for all units. Casual replacement, very high, income from raiding and sacking, and that's at level 20. Very interesting and very unique. So you got Yor if you're into Yor. I am not the biggest Yor person by any stretch of imagination, but it is kind of cool that you can actually roleplay him as a bit using those abilities and get various cool abilities as you go along. Top, so you have a Warhouse or Survivor, Starbreast Talisman, which is a very interesting talisman, Founder, a huge growth, but unsurprisingly, if you really want to annoy Mazdamundi, and let's face it, you start off annoying him, you might as well keep going. And the Ultimate Adventurer, at rank 25, speed and melee defense and weapon strength. Quite good abilities all across the range there, because by then at rank 25 he could be quite potent in the fight. So there you go, that's Hellkadavo. Fancy making friends with Yzerman? Take Markoff Colombo instead as your Yord. Consider me the first Old Worder to establish friendly relations with Yzerman. Creating a fortune from his creation, he has established his own mercenary army and has settled in Yestria looking for his fame and fortune. Markoff is one of the few ranged Yords in the Seven Realms mod, and he's not too bad in combat either. However, as Cosmo, he is an accurate ranged Yord at 228. Allowing him to keep safe behind his front ranks. With your armour, but otherwise a strong combatant, he's a very good hybrid Yord. First ability is Gem of Yustria. Awarded by a grateful Swan, gives Markoff a nice 20% physical resistance, and being constant is a great trinket. Bringing the Duplicari ability, Very handy for a ranged yard. And to yoke 3 units in front of you, giving you plenty of defence and to shoot with freedom. A hunter of great renown. With telescope, he allows him to spot any units within a huge range, making sneak attacks like with Skaven very difficult against him. Also, with some of the finest Justria wine, boosting his AP, he allows him to even more opponents in the battle. 30 seconds and only 1 use, this powerful ability could really turn the tide into your favour. I would suggest running a hero, just to help him protect him from his close range damage, so he can use his ranged abilities to great effect. Lastly, the Scroll of Araby, giving him instant resistance to magic in a 30 meters radius. A very handy ability to take possible huge damage from a vortex or similar spells. So here we are again, and this time with Markoff. They asked look at the campaign, and I won't need to go through this again because Markoff starts exactly the same as Hellkadavo. And so we go straight into his army. Bit more balanced, I would say. Yacking the cannon, but a bit more balanced. So a bit more melee infantry this time. So you got 2 pikemen and a swordsman. The excellent crossbows and 2 normal crossbows. A noble retinue, very handy. I do like Cav straight from the off. And then Cav, and of course the missile units as well. Carabiniers. Pretty decent army that. I quite like that. You got 3 melee infantry, you got 3 missile units, you got an extra unit of Cav skirmishers, and of course you got something to run down troops. It's very nicely balanced, that army. It's a good starting one. So as before, because we've already been through all this, not much to say about it. Could say that there's always a high elves to have fun with, but he is pretty much the exact opposite of our previous general. He is much more friendly with Mr. Mazdamundi here, so you can play this campaign completely differently. You can be friendly with them and try to get rid of Norska. I've also played this campaign a bit, possibly just as much as the last one. So I played it 5 or 6 times, possibly each. Something like that. Either with Vanilla, only probably once with Vanilla, or with his Cataph's other mod, his Boys to Boys mod. So let's go straight into a skill tree. We won't bother cutting it. We'll just go straight in there. And as you can see, this is interesting, especially at the top there, but let's save that to the last bit. So all of the usual things, nothing massively different here. Got a few abilities. Some of these are shared with other ones. By now you probably see some things you're familiar with if you've seen both videos. Well, you pick veterans, siege warfare, speed of horse, boss younged, dirty dozen, steel of honour, and of course the last one again. So his own personal abilities, he's got a bit more missile damage, so he's got something to boost that missile damage, and I would take that. I would use this yard more as a ranged yard than anything else. Not that he can't handle himself in the battle, but still, I just quite liked him as a ranged, shooting from behind the ranks. So to reduces reload reduction. Some more abilities, full plate armour, just for a bit of defence, and slippery, which is very nice, good ability. Okay, skink contacts. So diplomat activations with plus 15 realism, additional trade resources, and income from ports. Very nice. So this allows you to go against any particular faction. Much like you've seen in previous other trees I've played with, and other mods I've played with, this allows you to tailor which yard you want this one to go against. If any, of course. You don't have to go on this tree. But this does give you an excellent buffs for those particular factions, as you've seen here. One of my favourite ones is the Kill Undead. Double experience, and actually causes fear when fighting against the undead, so that negates any problems with that. And then you got some other abilities there. Moving on. Befriend the priests, so that's more diplomat activations with Isman and additional trade results. So you can get quite a good trade going with the Isman, and they have got some really good trade possibilities there. Befriend the Cyan, so that gives them an eye ability of Holy Stellar. Now, I have to admit, I have never used that ability. I never got that far down that tree, I don't think. I think I stopped about there and built up his other parts. Looking like it, as a defensive spell, And yeah, I can see that being quite useful. 57 seconds. That is a duration and a half. So that's duration of pretty much the entire of its cooldown. And 3 uses? That's very strong. No wonder it's level 15. That's very strong. Secrets of Wizards. So a bit of bonuses for all armies, faction wide, all armies. So that is very strong because it's boosting all your armies at the same time. Right at the top. So Warhorse and a Doom crossbow. So that increases range even further. And that is one ability I did have. I remember that because it's brilliant. And you can boost that twice. Gemiustra, which I naturally had. I didn't have that because I didn't want him to be in the battle, so I didn't want that ability. Scroll of Albi, I don't think I had that. I got the missile resistance, and then we got some more best money you can buy. You've seen that before. Full marksman, so range 6% and plus 10%. So that affects him as well. So you can really get his range attacks to high, to open R levels really. Cause fear against rogue armies. That's an interesting ability. Don't remember that ability last time I played this. And then reinforcements from Terratuna. Experience plus 3 for all those particular units. A very interesting tree. And that will come to the end of my video sections about Southern Realms mod by Cataph. So this is the Yord video. So as I've been hinting at, there will be a unit video, which I haven't written yet. That's probably going to be, my theory is at the moment, I can't see myself changing it, it's going to be complete breakdown all the new units available in this mod. And then I'm going to go do a separate version with the Regiments of Renown and the Regiments of Fame. So look out for that one. And in the meantime, thanks for watching.